Beautiful weather on stage 9 of La Vuelta, reminiscent of the sunspot which had illuminated Jay Vine's second stage win of this race. Finishing 5th behind him, Evenepoel ahead of Mas and Roglic, the three amigos at the top of the overall classification, blanketed by 1:01. How would Evenepoel's team cope in the absence of Peter Seri, who left the race due to COVID? We were going to find out. Jay Vine in the polka dot jersey, looking very happy after 2 stage wins. Would he try and make it 3? Of course he would. Simon Yates had won this stage back in 2018. How would he go on the ramps that define the day? And what ramps they are. Well, rolling terrain before the mountains began, and we cut back for an intermediate sprint near our start town, and a peak at the end which defied belief. 24% in places, all squeezed in to 3.5 kilometres of hell at the end of the day. Well, they set off 176 kilometres ahead of them, and it was a spirited battle to be in the break. Final incarnation of it saw 10 up the road, but DSM's Aronsman was 3 minutes and 18 down on the overall, and his team thought that maybe it should be another day for him. Well, they may well rue that decision, because the breakaway was so strong it had legs, and the gap was up over 5 minutes at one time, but always moderated by Quickstep Alpha Vinyl, working of course for Evenepoel. Well, towards the end of the day, and that climb that everyone dreaded, it was defining itself even before we got there. The breakaway had split, Ballestella was up front arguing with Janssens about work rate, and a crash in the peloton meant that there were many gaps that opened up and nerves started to fray. This was going to play into the hands of the break. They may well have been fracturing, but Louis Meintjes looked absolutely magnificent for Intermarché Wanty. Equally magnificent, the world champion, Julian Alaphilippe, coming down one side of this V-shaped valley that defined the finale. He making sure everyone stayed safe, and indeed made sure that Remco Evenepoel was perfectly poised to attack, which of course he did. Well, as Meintjes was making ground up the mountain, Evenepoel was making hay compared to those around him in the general classification. He looked absolutely supreme, comfortable you might even say. Likewise, Louis Meintjes was pushing on for glory. But what about this man? Evenepoel with Enric Mas looked back, and there he could see, of course, Primož Roglic struggling, and Juan Ayuso of UAE Team Emirates also being bitten by the pace that he was setting. This was absolutely magnificent. He was going to find more time on those surrounding him in the general classification. The biggest loser, I think, Primož Roglic, really struggling. Enric Mas likewise was finding life more than a little bit hard. Louis Meintjes, well, he was heading for a stage win. Never had one on the Grand Tour. He won the Coppa Bartoli when he was a youngster back in 2015. Now at the age of 30, he came to the top of the hill to get his first ever Grand Tour podium. It was a wonderful moment. Louis Meintjes with a stage win in a Grand Tour. It's a pleasure to say. And this was a pleasure to see. Remco Evenepoel crossing the line, and the clock started. 44 seconds he had as an advantage in the end over Mas, and 1:12 added to his advantage over Primož Roglic. Ayuso did not want to miss out on a good finish either. Plenty were just glad to see the line. They'll be glad to see the rest day as well. Roglic home, bowed perhaps. He will be back. What more for Louis Meintjes? Well, he's just going to enjoy this for the time being. He'll enjoy the rest day as well. Not so the time trial, I don't think. And it's a time trial to come. This is how it finished today. Evenepoel a remarkable 4th place. Simon Yates down in 12th, 2 minutes and 37 off the winning time. Padon suffering today. Miguel Angel Lopez Valverde around him as well. Everyone was tortured. And this man, well, he was the man turning the screw. Evenepoel leads the race now by 1:12 over Enric Mas, 1:53 over Primož Roglic, and with a time trial to come after the rest day, he will have no fear. So a rest day, and then on Tuesday, a resumption of hostilities. 31.1 kilometres is the time trial run to Alicante. A race of truth against the clock on virtually pan-flat terrain. It will suit Evenepoel, but who else can make inroads into his lead? Join us and find out at La Vuelta.